Hi, my name is Alan Williams. Welcome to my fourth Tableau video tutorial. This one is going to focus on grouping and sets. And as with all of the videos that I create, I have a link to them on my blog site, alanwilliams.ca. And if you click on any of the titles, you'll be able to view the video and also download any files associated with the video. And if you want to leave comments, make suggestions for future videos, etc., you can leave comments on this site. One more thing, I do have a Facebook page created for Learn Tableau 10, so you can also visit that as well. A few notes about groups and sets, and this information does come from the Tableau website. Alright, so groups in Tableau can be thought of as metadata definitions. Sets in Tableau are combinations of data, almost like filter results. Groups cannot be combined to create new groups. Sets can be combined to create new sets. Groups cannot be used in calculated fields. Sets can be used in calculated fields. Groups have specific limited uses across data sources, and sets can be used across data sources. Okay, so let's get started. If you want to follow along with what I'm doing, you can download this Tableau file from my website, alanwilliams.ca, as a starting point. So let's bring in product category hierarchy that we created in the last video and sales amount, and we'll just expand the category so we see the subcategories, and I'll just change it to this type of chart. So I want to exclude components and bikes and just focus on clothing and accessories. I'm going to exclude bikes, exclude components. So what I want to do here is I want to group some of these smaller sales volume accessory subcategories into one group. So first I'm going to just sort this here so I can see everything under bike racks I want to group. So I'm just going to select all these data points. Then I'm going to hover over here and say, click on the paperclip icon, and I want to create a group for the product category. Sorry, the product subcategory. So what's happened here, if I right click on this new group that's been created and say edit group, so it's created the group with the subcategories that I highlighted here. It's also created, so we can see bottles and cages, cleaners, etc. We can see they're all the ones that I highlighted, but it's also created a group called other, and this has all of the other product subcategories that are not included in this group. Should also mention that by default, when I created that subcategory group, it added this item into color, which is why you're seeing the different colors for the items I included in the group. Let's create a new sheet and see the effect of adding this group and the sales. And you can see here, let me just make that into, again, this type of chart. It's showing bottles, it's showing that subcategory I created, and it's grouped everything under other. And I don't necessarily want that. I want to see this group and also all of the other subcategories that we had. I don't want to see them grouped as other. So the way I can change that, if I go down to product subcategory, edit group, and this other group that was created, I want to say ungroup and apply. So now we're seeing all of the other product subcategories and the group that we created that had the subcategories we defined initially. Let me just change the alias of this subcategory group. If I go down, if I right click and edit alias, I can just say other accessories and click OK. So now we're seeing all of the product subcategories that we have on our data set, and we've grouped the other accessories into one lump sum. Let's see the effect of having created this group, and just by using the default hierarchy we created before. So I go to product category and sales amount, and I expand this. So we're not seeing that group in this hierarchy. If we wanted to have the other accessories grouped here, what I would need to do is remove this product subcategory from the hierarchy and add the one that we created. So now we're seeing other accessories. So it has grouped them in the hierarchy. So you can use groups in a hierarchy that you've defined if you want to apply the groups in this manner. I'm just going to reset this hierarchy the way I had it before with the product category, subcategory name. Also, I can right click on this or click on it here and say rename. I just want to call this other accessories. Subcategory. Okay. Another way to group data is by using a calculated field. So I'm just going to right click on the dimensions area and say create calculated field. I've called this formula calculated field high sales subcategories, and I'm just saying if the sum of sales amount is greater than 50,000, then true. If not, then false. So I'm going to apply this. So now you can see I've got my high sales subcategories. I right clicked in this area to create the calculated field. I could have right clicked in the measures area. This is a measure, of course, so it shows it under measures. Let's see how we can use that new calculated field. So I'm going to bring in product category hierarchy over here, and again the sales amount. Expand this, and we'll exclude bikes again, and we'll exclude components. Now if I drag this high sales subcategories calculated field into color, we can see that it's showing the sales subcategories less than 50,000 in one color in blue and the other color in orange here. So we've been able to essentially group sales above and below 50,000 using a calculated field. Just to take it one step further, now if I expand this product subcategories hierarchy, I'm now seeing individual product names, and it's applied that same calculation to the product name. So for instance, bike wash dissolver, sales of less than 50,000, so it's in blue. These different helmets are all above 50,000, so they're showing in orange. So we've applied that calculation in a hierarchy. Let's create a parameter now and tie in that calculated field to the parameter. So I right click, dimensions area, create parameter. So I've called this parameter sales threshold, data type float, current value $200,000. So I'll click OK. So now I'll actually create a new calculated field. So the calculated field is parameter high sales. It's similar to the other calculated field now, except I'm saying if the sum of sales amount is greater than the threshold, and this is the sales threshold parameter I just created, then true, else false. So I'll say apply and OK. Let's test that parameter now. So I'm going to right click on the parameter at the bottom here and say show parameter control. Just by doing that by itself, it's not going to do anything, I don't believe. Let's see, if I change this to 800,000, not doing anything. I have to bring the calculated field we brought into color, we created. So now we see except clothing was over $800,000, so it's showing true. Let me change this to a smaller amount, 50,000, but then I'll expand the hierarchy. So now we can see the results of this. So we're seeing everything that's over 50,000 in orange for the product subcategories. And if I expand this a bit further, we're now seeing it at the product name level. So by using a dynamic parameter up here, let's change it to 100,000 just to make sure it works. Yeah, so we've got a parameter that's tied to calculated field, and we're grouping or displaying the data differently based on the value of the parameter. But what if I only wanted to show the items that are true? So I only want to show, in this case, everything that's over $100,000 in sales. Right now I'm seeing the ones that are under and they have a different color, but if I drag this parameter high sales into filters and I say I want only the ones that meet the true condition, apply. So now I'm only seeing product sales over 100,000. If I change this to 200,000, That's too much. 150,000, we're just seeing the product names that were over $150,000 in sales. I can again go back and only see the subcategories that meet that $150,000 threshold. So a pretty powerful tool to combine parameters and calculated fields to group data and display only data that meet certain thresholds. Another way to group data is by using bins. So you can create a bin on a measure. So think of a typical use for this would be if you have a data set that includes the ages of individuals. So group by age, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, etc. Our data set doesn't have that in it, so we're just going to group sales amount, use bins. So right click on sales amount, create bins. And Tableau suggests a default bin size based on your data. I'm just going to change this to 1,000 and say OK. And we can see under dimensions it's created a sales amount bin. Let's have a look at how the bins work. So I'm just going to bring in product category and sales amount. Again, this has been our starting point for most of the video. So now I'm going to bring in this new sales amount under columns, and we can see it's grouped in $1,000 intervals the sales of a different product categories. And I can expand this to see the subcategories. So again, it's a nice way to group your data based on predefined criteria by using bins in Tableau. Let's have a look at how we can use sets in Tableau. So I'm going to bring in the country and sales amount. Now I want to group all the countries in Europe together. So I'm just going to select France, Germany, and United Kingdom. And I want to click on this icon, create set. And we're just going to call this Europe. And we want to include all of these. If I want to exclude certain ones, I would check this box. Or if I want to exclude all of them, I would check this box. I want to include these countries. Say OK. And we can see down at the bottom left-hand corner, it has created a sets here called Europe for us. So let's see how we can use those sets in some analysis. The first thing I want to do though is I want to create a calculated field for the order date that just has the month. So I'm going to right click on order date and create calculated field. I'm going to call this order month. And the formula will just be month. Order date. Okay, my fingers aren't working very good here. Let's get that in there. Okay, month, order date, apply. And what's happened is Tableau has put this into the measures because the order month is an integer, but I don't want this to be a measure, so I'm going to drag it up into the order information, rendered order date. So now I can use this order month as a dimension. So let's go create a new sheet. Let's see how we can use that newly created Europe set in some analysis. So I want to bring in, I guess the first thing we'll bring in is that newly created dimension order date, oh sorry, order month, and we'll bring in the sales amount. We'll add a filter on product category. We'll just make this bikes. And then we'll bring in this new set we created into color. We'll go down to the column here and change order month to continuous. So now we see an analysis here where we see all of the countries that don't belong in Europe, the sales of bikes, and the sales of bikes just in the European countries we created for that set. So I'm showing right now is, right click on here again, continuous. So I'm seeing for every month number, so for every January in our data set, every February. So let's do some further analysis with this Europe set that we created, and this time we want to look at the number of sales that we've had, and we want to see discrete months. So for every month in our data set, and for every year we want to see a point on this chart. So I'm going to create a new sheet. I'm going to bring in order date, and I'm going to bring in sales amount, but instead of the sum I want to count. So I'm going to change this to account. I'm just going to change this to the month of the order date. Fix that, there we go. Now if I bring in the Europe set under color, I'm seeing what I saw before initially, which was the total sales, or the total count of sales for each month. But if I want to see this for the entire time period, instead of having month up here, I go to month, the second part, which makes it a continuous. So I'm seeing for June 2005, for every month up until from June 2005 up until June 2008, the sales for all the European countries, the number of sales, and the number of sales for all the other countries that are not included in the Europe set. I mentioned at the start of the video that one of the differences between sets and groups is you can combine sets and analyze the data with Tableau. So I'd like to illustrate that. The first thing I'm going to do is I have a product name dimension here. It's part of this product category hierarchy. I just want to create a copy of this to use as a standalone product name that's not part of the hierarchy. I'm just going to rename this product name standalone. Okay, so now I've got this dimension here. So this is a different way to create a set than what we did before. I'm just going to click on the drop down and create set. And in this case I want to have a condition. So I want this to be the order quantity, the count of order quantity to be greater than or equal to 2,000. Let me quickly change that. I want this to be the sum of the order quantity greater than 2,000. So click OK. So now it's created this set down here. Let's test that one out. So I bring in order quantity, column shelf, bring product name standalone to the rows shelf. Then I'll bring this new set into color, just so we can see the differentiation there. Now I'll just also bring it into filter. So as we can see, we're only seeing individual products where the total quantity sold exceeded 2,000 units, which is what we want. So this is part one of the combined set we're going to create. So in order to combine sets, they have to be based on the same dimension. So I'm going to create another set based on this product name standalone. Create set. This one's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to go to the conditions tab. I'm actually going to put in a formula here. So I've called this product name starting with W, and all I'm doing is saying I'm taking the first character starting at the left hand side of product name if it equals W. So this should include, in our example here, we have these women's product names. It should include all of these. So I'm going to click OK. Now let's test out that set that we created, and then we're going to combine them. So quickly add a new sheet. The order quantity top, product name standalone. And into the filters, I'm going to drag product names to start with W. So this is what we want. We're only seeing product names where the first letter of the product is W. So this is what I want. The next step is to combine product names to start with W and have order quantity over 2,000 units. Since we're going to combine the quantity of units sold and the product name starting with W, the end result here should be that women's mountain bike shorts size medium and women's tights size medium should drop off of this chart because they are under 2,000 units sold. So those two should drop off and we should just see the remainder. So let's create a combined set. So I just want to illustrate something to you. I'm going to select the Europe set we created earlier and the quantity greater than 2000. When I select those two and right click, I don't see an option to create a combined set, and that's because they're based on different dimensions. I have to select quantity greater than 2000 and product name starting with W and create combined set. So I've named this product starting with W and quantity over 2000. Just to illustrate the differences between these options here, I'm going to leave in the default, which is all members in both sets. Ultimately, this isn't what I want, but just to illustrate. So I'm going to say OK. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this under the filters. So I'm going to bring this up, replace it with that. So now I'm not getting the desired result. I'm getting, again, if I right click on this set, say edit set, I'm getting all members in both sets. I just want to have shared members in both sets. So in that case, I want quantity greater than 2000 and product name starting with W. If I click this and say apply and OK, so this is exactly the desired result. We've combined the two sets we've created, quantity greater than 2000 and products starting with W. So a very powerful feature with Tableau with sets is the ability to combine them and analyze data in different ways using that functionality. So thank you for watching. This was groups and sets in Tableau. We also showed a few other things, how to create combined sets, how to implement parameters with your groups, etc. So lots of different functionality within Tableau for grouping your data to analyze it in different manners. So again, this was Al Williams from alanwilliams.ca. If you'd like to have access to the file that we started this presentation with so you can follow along, it'll be available on my website, alanwilliams.ca. Thanks for watching.